Well, hello, everyone. It is that time again. It is the best time ever. No hyperbole. This is the best show ever. Like, this is it. This is it. Welcome to What Went Wrong. Hello, everyone. Come in. I see you are making your way in. This is the Great River. I'm here with 7-Star Mike. What's going on, Mike? How are you?
I am glorious, as always.
I saw that. I saw that video you just posted, but
Yeah, well, there's that.
we can't go forward yet though, because here on the screen you see our contact information. Definitely, if you guys have any questions, the question box in the upper right hand of your screen. Let me know what's up. Let me know if you can hear us. Let me know if you have any questions, anything along those lines, and we will definitely try to get to those as we go through the show. Hello, everyone. But on your screen, we got to welcome this guy. Hello, Mr. Lamb. How are you?
Yo. What's up? I'm good. Hope y'all are.
You know, you're just laid back, aren't you? I love it.
A little bit.
I love it. It's just a laid back situation. All right, now we got to talk about the video real quick, Mike. It looks like it's beautiful where you are. You have mirrored sunglasses. I love that.
It's always beautiful where I am. I'm in Southern California. How can I complain?
Well, the people I know in Southern California, they like to complain about the taxes and the water shortage.
The taxes suck, but if you don't like it, move.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't like them, but whatever. The rest of it is well, not the rest of it. There's some problems in California.
Yeah.
But like anything in life, if you don't like it, make a change, move.
That's the thing. I feel like you're becoming a little bit of a motivational type figure within Black.
You know what? I'm reading too many of these damn books, and I'm getting pumped.
Well, I hear you talking about those books sometimes, and I get a little pumped, like secondhand. And I think all of those motivational people with all their puffy books are just ripping us off. Like, I'm completely.
They are in a sense, but you know what? If you get something out of a book and it makes you think about something or change, it was worth the $20 or $40, whatever it was. So it's a matter of. I went on Twitter at the beginning of the year and I was asking for books, basically book suggestions for people that are like, what changed your life? And I have a list of like 45 different books, and I think so far I've been through about 10 or 12. And a lot of them focus around the same stuff. So you could kind of narrow it down to 2 or 3 out of the 12 and really get a good foundation of how to basically set yourself up for success and change your mindset. So would I say it's a waste that I read 12 instead of the 2 or 3 good ones? No, because I like the different perspectives of the different authors.
Yeah.
But essentially, like if I stopped reading on the particular topic I'm kind of focused on right now, I got a lot out of it. I wouldn't need more books, but I've got like something like 30 more in the pipeline ready to go. So it is what it is. I enjoy reading them though.
I got you. Yeah, I'm probably just a little too cynical. What do you think, Lamb? Are you into self-help books? Do you read stuff? Tell me about Matt.
I would say that I wish I read more. I did quite a bit of reading when I first got into trading, and some things along those lines as far as the type of books I was reading. But it's something I wish I did more of. But I do see the value in them.
Yeah. I'm the odd person. You know, people call me the hippie, but I don't know. I think Mike has a lot of hippiness deep within his soul, but I know you're not going to agree to that. But
I'm slowly removing a little bit of hippie, but no, I am not at all classified as hippie.
All right. So questions, comments. I'm glad you guys can hear. Let us know if you have questions. What we're going to do today, this is just, we like to come on and do this show for you guys. We like to basically spend some time reflecting on what went wrong over the week or the weeks since our last show. We like to talk about how failure is a very important part of learning, and how if we reflect upon that failure honestly, then we can learn powerfully from that. So that's the spirit of this seminar, is just simply we talk about what mistakes were made. Hopefully you guys in the comments will type anything you'd like to hear any of the hosts to discuss, any topics, any things you deal with that make you sometimes maybe leave money on the table or just straight up take and execute bad trades. I mean, I do that a lot. I know that for sure. So that's the spirit to this. And we're just going to get into it and discuss what happened, what kind of failure did we have recently, and how did we, think about that and reflect upon it and learn from it. And it's troubling for a lot of people to kind of do that. So I'd just like to say, last time we were on, Mike, you said you had this perfect week. It was a whole week, right? Where it was just perfect, where you had a totally green, not one single loss. And I know you've had a couple losses since then, but there's just this idea of a lot of people talk about their gains. A lot of people want to post what they made. And sometimes that makes us, especially if you're a newer trader, that makes us feel a little bit put out. And it can seem like everybody's making money but you. So that's what we're talking about. You guys tell us in the comments what's up, and we will get to any questions and comments. But Mike, what do we want to talk about? What do we want to do?
Well, I had a few classic mistakes today, or this week rather, but the good news is we've got Lambo hanging out with us, so I don't have to talk about my crap.
Oh, I have plenty of shit to talk about. What you want to know?
Well, we've got him here, so like we need to hear your input. So I saw you tweet about Lambo on Twitter, and you said you made a significant statement. You said he's your favorite trader. I think, is that a misstatement? I'm pretty sure is what you said.
He's one of my favorites.
What are your favorite traders?
I would say, I don't know how many I can count, but if I had top 5, he's probably top 5. He's absolutely 100% top 10. And here's why.
Yes.
So Lambo was basically hanging out with our group for a while, and then we were doing some stuff on Discord where Charlie and I were going to go off and do the beginners group and focus on that. So we were looking for some more moderators that could basically be active in the chat room. And Lambo's name was one of the first ones that came up. And I wasn't active in the chat room much at that point. So I was like, yeah, I'm cool with that. I don't know a whole lot about the guy, but everyone's vouching for him. Let him in. I'm good. And I started kind of listening to him and watching what he was doing and stuff. And I'm not going to put his financial business out there. He can do that. He's posted it on Twitter, so I'm not outing him in any way. But he had an account of a certain size and brought it to a very respectable level. Like I said, I'll let him tell the story if he wants to. But this is a guy who I feel like anyone out there trading could be him. But he put in the work and he did what he needed to do. And he brought, like I said, he brought his account to a nice, respectable number through trial and error. And we kind of watched him in the group become, very super consistent trader. So he's one of my favorites because he's like the guy that anyone on the planet could be. And you put in the work and he got to where he is. And I think he can tell you guys, he's not done learning. He's the first one to say that he's on a long journey here, but where he's kind of is now compared to where he was, that journey makes him one of my favorites. So Lambo, I mean, I can't say enough good things about you. Like legit, I think you're great. I love hanging out with you and being a part of the same group. And if you want to tell us, part of your story or what you've learned on the journey from, starting out as a trader to becoming the point where the black box team says, hey, this guy's worthy of being a moderator, whatever you want to clue us in on that journey, take it away.
Sure. Yeah, I really appreciate that, Mike. That means a lot coming from you. And I'll keep it as short and sweet as possible. But basically, I came to black box, a very green options trader. I didn't really know where I was going with it. I just knew I could do something with it, and I came in. And I'll tell you the thing that held me back so long that I think happens to a lot of traders is they're focused on creating wealth or a certain amount of money at a rapid pace, and this leads to sorry about my dog. Leads to oversizing trading too often. And it's kind of a downward spiral from there. And that's what I caught myself up in, is starting with a smaller account, and seeing, all these people make so much money. And I thought it would be just so easy to just jump in and follow along and, you name it. So it was just trying a lot of like introspection, finding out, who I was as a trader, as a person, what fit my personality, and kind of working around like these things holding me back as far as my mentality, and not realizing that I needed to be focusing on my actual execution and process of what is occurring versus what I'm trying to create an outcome of. And I can't stress that enough, that as soon as you forget about the dollar amount, what you want to make each day, month, year, whatever, and just focus on like trading well, and having a process and being able to execute consistently, not letting fear, greed, which will always be there. I personally don't think, from how I am, that anybody could get rid of those completely, and they will always show their head on a red day, or when you're down, or made a bad trade. But you have to want it really, really bad. You're going to have trials and tribulations, and you're going to trip along the way, and it's just a matter of picking yourself up, dusting it off, and continuing to learn and try and improve daily. But like Mike said, if I did it, literally anybody can do it, as long as they want it bad enough. You can't just hope it's going to click one day, or you're going to find a super secret indicator, or you're going to follow someone's trades all the time or something. It's an individual journey, and if you really want to be good at it on your own, it will require some work. But if you want it, it can happen, and I truly believe that.
I think that's the key to it, because here's the thing. No matter how long you've been trading, I've been trading full-time 6 years, and I make mistakes and I lose money. Overall, I'm profitable and very consistent at what I do, but I'm going to lose money from time to time. If you're not into it with the point of view of like, this is something I'm going to really dig into and learn, when you have those losing days, you're not going to have the positivity to get through that. You're going to be like, oh man, this is too hard, this sucks, I quit. Mm-hmm. So you really have to want it to the point where you understand there's going to be days where you do your best and you end up losing money, and it sucks, but that's part of doing business as a trader. It's a cost of doing business. So you really do have to want it, because you're going to go through times where, oh, this looked like a perfect setup and I took it and lost money. How does that end up happening? And if you don't have that passion to really learn this, enough days like that, and you're just going to give up because it just wears you down.
Yeah.
I agree. And sorry, River, just while I'm thinking about it, you say that like losing's part of it, and that's I think people think that you can take a trade and there's like everything just lines perfectly, and you can always have the trade that doesn't lose, and that's not true. Any trade you put on has risk. It's a matter of lining your risk reward, lining up probabilities, and executing. And some are going to win, some are going to lose. Hell, you don't even have to win much more than you lose, as long as you keep everything in check as far as stopping losers and letting your good trades pay you. But yeah, go ahead, River.
Well, what Mike said about your journey, where you took your account from X to Y, and was that over a 1 year period? Is that what I recall reading?
It was, yeah. So it was basically from my first year of trading, losing money, refunding accounts, yada yada. Year to year and a half, I'm starting to like be break even. Basically, I'm starting to catch up to what I'm losing, each time. Yeah. A year and a half into 2 years, I'm starting to make more than I lose. And at this point, into 2 years, I start to where I feel comfortable, and because at this point, whatever I make each week, I'm taking out and only allowing myself to trade with a certain amount, because I didn't trust myself to get it was 10 grand just for sake of conversation. I'd had 10 grand in my account, whatever I made that week. My personal goal was $100 to $200 a day. I know goals are not the best, but that was just in my head, and it helped me keep me sane if like I wanted to keep trading. I would take that out at the end of the week, reset it. And then after I did that for 6 months, I refunded my account again to right around PDT levels. And then from there, it was just, let's see, where I can take it. And I will say, I'm like a numbers guy and like setting goals and stuff. So it's easy to get caught up in numbers and say, well, I really want to have my account at XXX, or I really want to make this much this week. And I still get caught up in doing that. And like, if I forget about that, I do so much better. But yeah, it was a year. I still have not taken anything out of it. I don't take anything out of my trading account. I'm still, I have a goal in my head. I still work full time and then, moderate while at work and trade.
Wow.
So, I leave that separate. I've, just my own ambitions and goals with it, but I'm just continuing to grow it. And, I would just say the bigger your account gets, I don't think there's ever like a level of arrogance or confidence that you really should have or should grow with you, because the more money you have, the bigger you can mess up.
Yeah, sure.
In a nice way to put it. So you always have to keep yourself in check. And I've tweeted about this and mentioned this before, but I still trade like I have an account a third to the half of the size I have. And that's just what's comfortable to me. I can make a comfortable amount to where I'm not risking a ton. Would it be cool to be able to have 5-figure days? Yeah, that'd be cool. I just know I'm not ready for it. From an emotional and like psychological perspective, I still don't do well with larger sums of money moving around, and I know this about myself. So I trade around that, and that's something you have to identify with yourself. Some people can, and I've seen them on Twitter, man. They have a 6-figure account. They can all in weeklies with tight stops, and they have $1 million in a month. And it's just like, I'm just not built that way.
Yeah.
And and most people aren't. I would say that 95% of traders are not built that way. Money is too much of an emotional subject to them, and they need to figure that out and trade that way. All these stories of accounts blowing up. I saw one in main chat today about some guy who just came to us, and he had blown up a substantial amount of money. And just from reading his one paragraph, he's trading extremely heavy because he's trying to make back what he lost. Yeah. And that's where people get caught up, and that's where I got caught up when I first started. Well, I lost that much money that fast. Well, I need to make it back that fast. And the market doesn't work that way. And the sooner that you can accept that and realize you have to make your money back at a slower pace, take your base hits, call it a day, and move on to the next day, your trading will improve greatly.
I think we can help out a bunch of new traders by asking this question. When you first started trading, or just options or trading in general, like when you first got into this, what was your strategy as far as how did you even find trades to take? And when you were going through that first year of like trial and error, were you adjusting your strategy, or did you just kind of guess at what you should be trading? And at what point did you find this doesn't work, I've got to switch it out?
Still talking to me?
Yep.
Okay. So how I started by joining a Discord service, right? Some guy who called alerts, and I was just joining multiple services because I'm the type of person to I like to take in as much as I can and see what I can extract from it and what kind of clicks for me. So I was joining one service where guys like calling out. I remember my first trade. It was he told everybody to buy Microsoft and AMD calls over the weekend. So I bought them and swung them over Monday. Opened my account on Monday. I'm up money. I've made like $400 or $500 or some shit. I'm like, oh my god, this is the easiest thing ever. I'm gonna be rich. And that was my beginner's luck streak. That one trade was my beginner's luck. From there, it was just downhill because I didn't know about a cash account, first of all. That was something I had to figure out when I came to Black Box. And Black Box was, I shortly found them after I got started. So I've been with y'all since the very beginning. But yeah, I tried swinging. I tried, there was one guy who I was learning from where he would buy options out, say a month out of the money, and he would like plan on averaging into them. So he'd build these positions, and I kind of picked up that from him. And then I came to Black Box, and I really enjoyed listening to Pete. I picked up a lot of what Pete had to say, Kang's technical analysis using UVXY, Maria's scalping, trading the open. I picked that up from her. And I remember when Mel got hired, picking up everything she had to say as far as following money flow better. But I picked up a strategy where I would scalp slow. I could tell when weekly contracts were coming in that I could scalp and make quick money off of. I talked to Mike a ton about Orb. I remember DMing him asking if, I could just trade the Orb and, make all my money there. Like this is, Orb's really hot right now, but this was, 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, probably. Talking to him about that. So just everybody, it was just, I tried everything. I tried following Pete's longer term trades. I couldn't do them. It just wasn't for me. I knew that. I really liked being able to get in and out, make my money, be done at the end of the day. That was something I picked up as well. But and I say all this, what I hope you picked up from that is I'm learning what fits me and what didn't fit me, what I felt comfortable with, what I didn't feel comfortable with. And that should resonate within you or, whoever's listening, in the fact that there's a million ways to trade the market. I mean, endless. I mean, go on Twitter and everybody's got a different idea. And you don't have to trade them all. You have to trade the one that makes sense to you and that you can consistently execute and pull money from the market. And I would say that being realistic with what you're going to get. So I'm very happy taking 10, 20, 30% immediately on a trade because my entry is good. I get a good entry and in 10 seconds, I'm up 15% on a trade. Well, I'm not an asshole. I'm going to take that money because I'm going to start scaling out immediately.
Yeah.
Because I just made money and I'm going to pay myself. Now I have less risk on the table and I let those contracts move. Now I've got a couple runners that are up 50% and, I'm almost done for the day just because I started paying myself immediately. And one of the biggest things I struggled with in the beginning was just holding losers. Well, it's got to come back, or adding to losers. I was terrible about averaging down. I mean, that was like my thing. I actually have a good story about that we can get to if we have time. It's kind of entertaining. But I couldn't cut losers. I just let them go. I didn't know when to cut them. So even when I was starting to like figure out what I was doing, I would have like 3, 4, 5 good trades where like I made money. And then I'd have this big ass loser. Like, I mean, just like wiped all my winnings out plus like the week before, just because like, one, I'm too heavy trying to make too much money. And 2, I can't accept that I just had a shitty trade and I lost money because I'm too heavy. So I'm sitting there hoping it comes back. But
and this
sorry,
is why
I
I
digressed
say
a
you're
little
one of
bit
my
there.
favorite traders, is because what you just described is kind of what everyone goes through when they start trading, myself included. I basically had some good trades and would lose those gains because I did something stupid. I would average down, and then before I realized, okay, that doesn't work. I didn't necessarily start with any other Discord groups or anything like that. The first group I ever joined was Black Box, so I just got lucky in that the first one I picked ended up being a solid group. But I think a lot of people and a lot of stuff that I see on Twitter, a lot of people are doing that. They're looking for someone to just call out trades that they can get into. And I'm glad you said you've been in a bunch and it didn't work for you. Not that everyone's bad.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not the only good Discord group out there. There's other groups that are great. There's other groups that are successful, but I think that's what new traders do a lot, is they want to find a group that's just going to call out stuff and tell them what to do. And you can make money that way, but you're not really learning how to trade. So then when you go off and try it on your own, you might make money there, but you might not keep it very well because you don't understand the ins and outs of how you made that money. And there's a very heavy focus on people looking for someone to tell them what to trade. So if you guys see me in chat, I get grumpy when people do that, because I don't like the idea of someone telling you what to trade. Like, I prefer showing you the setups I'm looking at, and then you can figure out how you want to trade that setup, because that setup is, maybe it's valid for how you trade. The way I trade it might be different from the way you trade it, but it's still a valid setup for multiple ways to trade. So I like to show people how to find entries and why I'm doing it, versus this is a specific trade I'm taking, you should follow me into it. So like I said, I love that you said you started out that way and you basically changed and transformed into someone that listened to every different aspect you could and took a piece from this person, a piece from that person, and created what worked for you. I think that's the best way to really go about trading. And that's why I said anyone out there that's starting trading could be you, because you did the same thing. Everyone does this, but you took it a step further and made it work for you. So that, like I said, you're one of my favorites for that. It's the everyman trading story of how to start out and then how to turn that into, personalizing it and making it work for you.
Hey, can we like talk about skateboarding real quick? No, I'm kidding. I do have a question.
He is a lot better than I am, so we will not be talking about skateboarding.
So you said something a minute ago. You used to hold on to losers. I get DMs from people. I hear from people who are newer traders all the time, and that is one of the hugest problems right there. People will carefully make gains over 3, 5, 7 sessions from making good entries and being disciplined, and then they give it all back by holding something until it just blows up, right? So I have a question about that. What did it take for you, Lamb, to just stop holding losers and not averaging down? Is there anything specific that made you have that click with you?
I'll tell you what, man, it was like the hardest habit for me to break. And I think I finally I got yelled at enough to start journaling my trades. And I kept writing that down. And I'll tell you what, when I figured out kind of what my strategy was as far as scalping and being in and out, I figured out that if I'm wrong, like if my entry is wrong, either I wasn't patient for my entry or I just had a shit entry in general, and I just need to be out of it, and then I can reevaluate it. So instead of seeing in 5 minutes that my trade was really long, I go ahead, I cut it, I take a paper cut, a small loss that I can make back very quickly. Versus and this comes with being flexible with your account. Now, if you have a really small account and you can only take 2 trades a day or something, that's another whole entire mental aspect to it. But just from a perspective where if you can get in a trade and say, you know what, I wasn't patient for my entry. I don't know why I'm in this trade. I probably jumped the gun here. I just needed to be in something. Let me go ahead and cut this at break even, or, minus 5% or whatever you find yourself at, and just get the hell out of it and take a step back, reevaluate what you're doing, why you're doing it, what are you trading for right now, and then reassess. And that same trade can work, but now you're going into it with a clear head. Maybe you have a better entry in what you're doing and why you're doing it. And to touch on what Mike was saying about following, it's funny. I'm terrible about following people's trades. I mean, I tried it. I just suck at it. And I think newer traders may not realize, because I always see people posting they followed a trade. Well, man, I sold it early. How'd you know to hold it so long? Or I stopped out for a loss and now it's really green. How'd you know to hold it? And I'm just like, you didn't have a plan. You don't know, you're jumping into something with no, you have no idea where you're going to stop, where you're going to take profit, why the trade is happening. So how are you properly going to, execute with all these factors going on? And some people are terrific at it, and props to them. But I never had any major success following people, and I think that is what set me on my own path. Is so what's the word I'm trying to think of? Just so determined to find my own path to trade, because I just couldn't pick it up trying to take scraps from here and there. It was like I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to do this on my own, obviously, and that's what came to fruition.
Yeah, that's what I keep hearing. Mike, you may agree, but I'm hearing a lot of like this self-awareness in Lamb's story here. Like you stuck with it, you did what you have to do. Like, where does your determination come from? I know some people, that's a silly question because they're like, oh, people trade for money. It's all about money. But it's not always just about that. Like, why were you so determined to make this work? And why do you remain so determined?
So I didn't realize it until more recently in life that I'm actually like very competitive. But anything I set out to do, I want to be the version of the very best. And I'm not saying out of everybody in the world or anything like that, but like my very best I want to be. And with my competitive edge, yes, I want to be very, very good. So I came to trading from bodybuilding, and bodybuilding instilled in me an extreme work ethic and discipline that I have very mixed feelings about it now and my journey in bodybuilding, but I will say that I took a lot of positive out of it, and I'm glad I survived it. And trading,
Nice.
let me put it this way: I put probably a decade of my life, like blood, sweat, and tears, like into bodybuilding. Like that was my like whole entire life goal, was to be the best I could be in that realm. And my body decided to tell me that that wasn't going to happen for me. So trading was kind of my next outlet into pouring myself into. And then it turns out that I really enjoy it. I enjoy the challenge. I enjoy the idea that the outcome of it is whatever I make it to be. The sky's the limit. The sky's the limit, really, as far as like what I can make out of it. And that's kind of what keeps me going, because, I really think I can create my own reality as far as what I can pull from trading financially. As long as I continue to improve and put myself to it. So it's just, I came to trading because I wanted to make money, obviously. I mean, I don't know who comes to trading not wanting to make money. But when it kicked my ass, it kind of ignited something in me. And I'll tell you, it was probably one of the hardest things I've ever done mentally, emotionally, psychologically, as far as overcoming and coming from where I was to where I am. And you'll never get rid of all your demons and whatever makes you mess up in a trade or whatever, but it happens less. You can control it better. And it's always just a constant journey to self-improvement and improving your execution and process.
Yeah, that's hardcore. That's amazing. And I know you have a Riverside Chats episode coming up, and if you're up for it, I want to explore this bodybuilding stuff. I've got friends who've into it, and I know I'm pretty aware of that world, and that makes sense. You had what it took to really apply yourself for a long time for that. And
I'm sorry to get on the tangent there about myself, but
no, I love that. That's what. Okay. That makes perfect sense. I can't wait to explore that more in your episode. But like, as you know, bodybuilding is not always the healthiest thing to do, and there's ways to cheat. So it's an interesting paradigm to apply that as like a former bodybuilder to trading. I think that's amazing, Mike. What do you think about that? What you just heard?
I have a very good analogy for you that you bring that up.
Okay. Yeah.
so what blew me up in bodybuilding was I pushed too hard, too fast, right? In multiple different ways. Okay. That's how people blow up their accounts.
Yeah.
They come into trading without the experience, the expertise, and they push for too much and they come back with nothing. And that was my mindset starting out in bodybuilding, and that was my mindset starting out in trading. So there's definitely parallels to there, and I always think of stuff that comes back to that. So it's interesting how they relate. But yeah, I'm an open book, so I have no holds barred on anything. I'm happy to divulge any and all information because I think it's interesting and people can learn from it.
Oh yeah. Man, yeah, that's a really fascinating aspect of where this comes from. And I don't want to get too far down the rabbit hole, but like, do you ever think about going back to bodybuilding, or have you kind of closed that door?
No, absolutely not. It's a closed door to me. It served its purpose in my life, and I feel I spent too much time on it. But again, some positive came from it. I'm happy to be here and not have anything else affecting me from it. So.
Well, I've heard people talk similar ways, and Mike, you've told me stories that are similar. Kang has told me similar things. Hell's Bells has told me all kinds of. What I'm getting at is it's the mindset of people like you guys who can either already are or you can be full-time traders and just maintain that. And that's what I love about Mike, because I'm talking about Mike like he's not here. So, but he's insane to me how he can be profitable like year in and year out, and he just does it, and he's a machine. And Mike, you're the man, is all I got to say.
Well, you know, like every other trader though, my first year I made money not knowing what I was doing because the market was just going straight up. And the second year I lost a lot of money. Basically the money I made the first year was given to me because the market was just going straight up. You could have bought anything. The second year it wasn't doing that. So everything I made the first year, I lost the second year. So I've went through the things where it's like, okay, I'm making money, and then, okay, I was making money, but I don't know what I'm doing. That's the part I have to figure out. Yeah. And then there was like a year-long struggle of, I'm not making money, but I'm not losing money. So I'm doing something right, but not enough right. And then I went from there to finally being consistently profitable. So I've been trading full-time for 6 years. The first 3 were kind of up and down. Yeah. So it wasn't one of those things where it was like if you listen to Kang's story, he was like consistent after 8 months of trading or 11 months, whatever it was. And I'm like,
screw him.
I'm just a slow learner, or I'm stubborn, or both, or whatever. It took me the 3-year-ish mark. The first year doesn't count because, like I said, I wasn't doing anything intentionally to make money. I was, but I was, the market was helping me. So I don't consider that a successful year, even though I made money. The second year, I was just struggling big time. The third year, the struggling stopped, but I still wasn't making money. And then after that point, it was like, okay, now I kind of have it figured out. I'm still, to this day, I'm still learning how to improve and be better. But I went through a full 3-year phase of up and down before I was like, okay, I feel comfortable doing this. Yeah. So the only thing that gets you through those ups and downs is your mindset. Because like I said before, if you're beaten down and beaten down and beaten down, at some point you're going to say either this is enough, I give up, I can't do this, or you're going to say beat me down again, I'm going to get up again. And the only thing that separates those from whatever industry, right, from sports to motivational speaking to trading to authors, the people that make it in any industry are the ones that say, I am going to make this, whatever you throw at me, throw it, but I'm going to get through all of it.
Yeah, that's similar. That's Lamb, you said some similar things. I've got a question for both of you guys that's directly in line with this series we're doing. Like, so in no other, you just nailed it. Like when people go through nursing school, they don't get out of nursing school and say, okay, for the first 2 years of nursing school, I'm not going to make any money. In fact, I'm going to lose money my first year. And That's just how it is. Like there is no other undertaking that does this outside of probably entertainment. So my question for both of you guys, so dealing with losses. So you started, you didn't make money, you lost money, you come back, you slowly gain momentum and skill. Like to this day, Lamb, starting with you, like how do you personally deal? And I know this is a personal question to traders. I understand that. So I ask this with respect. How do you guys deal with, fairly large losses at this point? How do you deal with it when you take a decent loss to this day? What makes you keep coming back?
I cuss a lot. I punch the wall. No, I'm just kidding. I do that, but no. I keep coming back because I know I can do better. I know immediately what I did wrong. And I don't. And you said right. You lose your money your first 2 years. Where else do you do that? Right, but where else can you have an unlimited earning potential with a potentially 30 to 60 minute workday, nothing to answer to, and really, the freedom and amount of money that whatever effort you want to put into it and money you want to trade. Let's put it that way. So to me, it's like the end goal, right? It's like one bad day isn't going to deter me from this ultimate end goal I have in my mind. So accepting that losses are a part of it. That's step one. Step two is realizing why today you had a bigger loss than you should have had, because if you're following rules, respecting what you've put in place to have this process to make money, you should have less big losers than you used to, for sure. And I still have days where I just, if I start off red on the day, most days now I can come back and get break even at a minimum. But you just have some days where you're just pissed off and nothing's going to take you away from that screen until you've either dug enough hole where you just want to quit, or you try and get back break even on the day. But I would say a lot of it goes back to self-introspection, realizing where you are mentally on the day. And 9 out of 10 times, it's probably better to just take a step back and say, okay, I'll come back tomorrow. Now, when you come back tomorrow, your mindset can't be, well, I lost $1,000 yesterday. I need to make $1,000 back, the first 30 minutes of trading today. Personally, I like to look at it as, and this is just how my brain works. Well, if I make $350 a day for the next 3 days, I'll have that loss back. And that keeps my trading size in check. And it keeps my thought process in check, and it makes my goals a little bit easier. So, okay, I made that 350 today. I actually made 500. I'm really happy. I'm halfway back to making that loss back. And then to me, that's how you build consistency and like a positive kind of way to go about things in your mind after coming back from a bigger loss, or a bad day in the market. I mean, it happens to everybody. So that's just how I approach it.
And I want to hear your idea too, Mike. But first, is it harder to trade while you're doing voice all day, Lamb? Like, how big of a factor is that, or does that make you a better trader?
So
tell us about voice.
So voice kind of came naturally for me, because the way I analyze the market, it kind of helps me say it out loud. I don't know if that makes sense, but that part came naturally to me. Sometimes I'll be in a trade and an alert comes up and I have to read an alert, or I have to read some flow or answer a question or something. And, you always have, do I take care of myself first, or do I, do this first? And it's still tough, but the voice part's kind of easy to me. I really don't mind. I actually really enjoy it and working with everybody on voice. So the amount I enjoyed, I can't say it's that detrimental to my trading. If at all, I think it kind of helps, being on voice, having all eyes on the market like that, and just being a part of it, and being able to bounce ideas back with Mel and Flo or Mario on a chart or Kang, if we're looking at this, me and Kang are looking at the same stuff, 9 out of 10 times, and we'll have, sometimes we see stuff differently, but I mean, that's the market. But I think we bring a lot of constructive analysis to chat, and I enjoy it. I know I got off topic a little bit there, but overall, it's I don't think it's too negative an impact. I'd say it's a little positive.
Oh, good. Yeah, I often wonder, like you guys are doing voice, and I just pop in and out here and there. But like, it's pretty amazing that you're doing therapy. And like, Mike, were you ever on voice regularly back in the day, or did you ever do that?
I don't know about regularly. When I first started, maybe I was.
Yeah.
At this point, to me, it is a distraction. So I can't really focus on the voice and the text and Discord and the main group. So I found my spot I fit in moderating the black box chat, not Discord. So I need to be more focused when I trade. I found Discord for me was just so much going on that every time someone would call out a ticker, I'd go chase it. And then I'd look at, the setup I was looking for, I missed because I was looking at this ticker, then that ticker, then this one.
Yeah, I do that a lot still.
Yeah, so for me, it just got too much where I couldn't focus on what I needed to do. And I was helping other people make money, but I was suffering myself. So it got to the point where I was like, I'm going to pull back a little bit. You guys might notice I'm active on Discord sometimes on weekends and after hours. Like today, this morning, we did a 2-hour Q&A session. So during market hours, it doesn't fit my trade personality or just my personality in general. So the main chat, I'm posting charts for setups that I'm looking at, and that doesn't hurt because that's reinforcing. If I'm going to put this in a chat where potentially 6,000 people can see it, make sure it's a valid setup. So that's just an extra, it's like a confirmation for me. Like if I'm going to post this chart, does it really make sense to let 6,000 people see this? If not, then I'm like, well, maybe I shouldn't be looking at that as a setup for myself. So the little secret is if I'm putting something in the chat room as far as a chart that I'm looking at, I'm going to be in the trade. Maybe I'll post some stuff that I know someone's looking at that I won't trade, but typically if I'm putting a chart in the chat room, it's because I'm looking to take that trade. So by talking through what I'm seeing in the chat room, and it's not voice for me, it's text, but by doing that, it reinforces that, yes, I'm looking at the right thing, or you know what, if I'm not comfortable putting that in front of this many people, maybe the setup isn't as strong as something I should really be looking at.
Yeah, sure.
So
I do
actually help.
I am very curious about something about main chat, and we've only got TLamb for about another 10 minutes or so, but real quick, I just got to ask Mike, you do so much stuff in main chat, like guiding new people, like brand new people with brand new questions. You answer their questions, you're posting things, you're so active in main chat. I often wondered the same thing about you that I wonder about Kang and TLamb and these guys on voice. Like, it has to, I don't know, does that sometimes kind of take away from your trading? And you kind of answered that, but my real question is, did you get in trouble for like the shitty flow posting thing? Because I haven't seen that in a while. Did you get in trouble for that?
No. So Blackbox as a company, I mean, they haven't really said anything to me as far as I'm a little straight, direct, to the point, and sometimes harsh. That's my personality. That's what people know me for. Some people, I'm not everyone's cup of tea. I absolutely am not personality-wise everyone's style. So if someone says, hey, I average down 16 times, can I get some help? What should I do? My first thing out of my mouth is, well, stop doing that. You're being an idiot. And I don't always say it like that, but I'm not the person that's going to be like, oh, everything's going to be okay. It's going to work out. Because you know what? If you keep doing stupid shit, it doesn't work out. You lose your money. So some people gravitate towards the person that's going to be like, oh, everything's okay. It'll work out. For me, it's more like if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to harm yourself really bad. So instead, we need to change your course of action. You need to do this. So when I post that shitty flow graphic, it's not meant to be an insult to anyone. It's more of like just I thought it would be a funny way to let someone know, like, no, that's not what we're focused on. So when I do that type of stuff, I don't mean to be mean to anyone. I just mean, like, I'm a very direct person. I'm going to answer things, it might sound harsh, but it's just the reality of trading. This is not a business where you can survive being stupid.
Well, that's true, and that's probably you're exactly right. And I just always loved it. I loved it from the beginning when I was brand new. I was like, who's this 7-star Mike dude? What's he?
Yeah,
Man.
I understand that there's people that are going to be put off by the way I talk. And again, if I've ever insulted someone, there's probably in the 6 years I've been with Black Box, I'd say there's probably in the chat room where I've really said something to someone mean, maybe 3 or 4 times in 6 years that I meant it as mean. And some people are just there to troll and really disrupt the group. So out of 6 years, 3 or 4 times where I really intended to be. So generally, if I say something in a harsh way, it's coming from a place of love because I've done what you did, and I know it's going to destroy your account because that's just what that behavior does. So it's coming from a place of I really want to help this person stop doing what they're doing and realize that what they're doing is harmful and stupid, and you're going to get trapped in this thing that's just going to, if you're trading bad day after day, it obviously destroys your finances, but it destroys your mental mindset for everything, right? How many times do you have a really bad day and then you go off to the rest of the day like happy-go-lucky? You're probably snapping at people.
Yeah, no.
You're treating people bad. So when I'm harsh, I'm coming from a place of I want you to understand that what you're doing is not going to be okay. The market will smack you in the face and laugh while they're doing it. So we need to address the seriousness of what you're doing. So sometimes it comes out harsh. I'm probably not the best, gentle communicator, but it's all coming out of a place of if you don't change this behavior, you're going to blow up your account. And even though it's not my money, it hurts me to see a member of our group. And some of these people, I don't know anything about them other than their screen name. But if you go in there and say, hey, man, I just lost $10,000 today. It's not my money. I don't know who you are, but it actually affects me. Like the rest of the day, I'm like, oh, man, I really hope this person can put that behind them and recover. So I'm harsh, but it comes from a place of trying to help you realize the seriousness of the business that we're in.
And if the powers to be really, if the boss people really cared, they would have fired you by now. So you're good. And they appreciate it.
I think so. I try to tame it down. And so last week was a rough week for me outside of trading. And that's what my video on Twitter was about. It wasn't about trading, just outside of trading.
Okay.
So I try to tame it down when I'm in the group because I know trading's a sensitive thing. If you just lost your money, the last thing you want is someone to be like, oh, dude, you're stupid. Ha ha. Right? Because that's just going to be like, oh, well, great. No, I lost money and now I suck as a human being. That doesn't help anyone. So I'm trying to be more along the lines of put myself in this person's shoes because we've all been there. And for me, I've been trading 6 years. So in that 6 years, I've learned a bunch of stuff that someone who's only been trading for 1 year hasn't had the chance to learn yet. So I look at it like, oh, stop doing that. What are you doing? And I got to realize that that person hasn't been on the same journey that I've been on. So to them, it's something new that they're experiencing, whereas me, it's like, clearly do not do that. But I have to address it from their point of view of they're newer to trading. They haven't experienced this a long enough time to know that what they're doing is bad or it's going to hurt them or whatever. So I definitely need to be a little more political with the way I talk. But my personal life is just, I'm not, like whatever's in my mind, it comes out. I don't have a filter. I don't get offended by anything. So that's kind of the way I talk to other people. So I'm rough around the edges. I know that. Everyone else knows that. That's just my personality. And when you work for yourself and don't have to answer to anyone, that suits me as a person. So that whole mindset of this is just who I am. I'm going to be me and you either like me or you don't. I kind of bring that into the chat room when sometimes maybe I should be a little more chill.
Corporate is going to make you take my my hippie empathy course. They're going to make you report to me.
Charlie and I have this little joke that we're going to do a Groupon for anger management classes.
Yeah, right. Well, hey, Lamb, I know you got to go in just a few minutes. Here's an important question, if you don't mind. Maybe we could someone typed this up. This is a paraphrase, but I think this is an important question for a lot of people who admire you guys because you're either trading full time or you're kind of on the cusp of it, right? Or you're actively trading all the time. But there's this question. I've heard this from other people too recently. So what about, where is the difference they're asking about between persisting through losses and wanting to succeed and wanting to make this work, and then maybe just the realization that it's not for them? It's just, is there a point or a time frame? What advice do you have maybe here at the end, Lamb, for somebody who is just not sure, should I keep persevering?
Yeah. So immediately I would ask, what are you doing to analyze your process? Or are you doing anything different? Or do you come to the market every day and continue to do the same thing over and over and get the same result? That would be my first question. My second question, what is your, and this is, totally personal, take into account your account size and how much of it are you trading and trying to make? From there we could break down, your trade executions, what you're trading, why you're trading it. And I would say I was at that point. I can't tell you the low moments I had where, I just need to quit, whatever you could think of it. I told myself, or, going home in tears pretty much, just because I was so frustrated because I wanted this one thing so bad, but yet it eluded me. Well, maybe I'm just not cut out for it. Maybe mentally, psychologically, emotionally, I can't do this. Well, I truly believe if you want it bad enough and you put your mind to it, in more ways than one. I mean, you have to put in the effort. You can't just show up and expect something to click. And I said that before, but there's a level of effort. I mean, read books in your off time. Go back and look at charts, study your entries and exits. Why did you buy here? Why did you sell here? Go look at Kang's trades. Why did he buy here? Why did he sell here? Anybody else's trades that you look up to, and see what they're doing or why they're doing it. But I don't think there's ever a point where, okay, I've learned enough and I'm still bad at this. No, there's always more you can learn. There's more self-improvement you can do. But I would say a lot of it's going to come down to that person and the personality type. And I can't stress enough going back and focusing on being consistent, having a process, and taking base hits. If you are still thinking, oh man, I've lost $50,000 and I need to make back X amount of dollars by X amount date. No, you need to focus on making $100 a day. $100 a day. Do that for a month. Now you need to make $150 a day, and just take baby steps, because you'll never, ever, ever make back a large sum of money at the rate you lost it, because you were recklessly trading. And I can guarantee that if you lost any large sum of money, and I speak that from experience. So I think you have to dig deep inside of you. Don't trade with money that you need to pay your bills. Like if you're at that point, you're never gonna from a mental state be healthy enough to take objective and make objective decisions. But I will say, if you want it bad enough, you will figure out a way to do it. And I did. And I still struggle with the same exact shit that blew accounts up. But now I can recognize when I feel that way, and I can control it to a point where it'll get in the way. I'll have a red day, but it doesn't. I continue to think of stuff, but another way to look at it is, I would be so obsessed with the amount from day to day. And then I broke it down and I was like, well, if I just make money on the week, I'm making progress. So if I start Monday off minus $300, well, that's okay. I have 4 more days to be green on the week. And that was something mentally that helped me as well. So try and break it down to a larger picture. So like maybe you want to be green for the month, So look at it from that way. Realize, be realistic with the amount of money you want to make and think you can make with the size account you have, and trading responsibly. But I can't tell you enough, and I'll say it again. You can do it if you want to do it. You will figure it out.
Oh, yeah. Right on. You know,
There's something I can add to this here real quick. And
Yes.
this is kind of, we had a 2-hour Q&A session this morning that basically focused on some large losses. So here's the one thing I can say. In 6 years of being a moderator, I just have access to a lot of people that send me questions about, hey, I'm struggling, or hey, I'm doing this. And over 6 years, it's just an experience level that I have talking to various people that others don't have access. Like, how many times do you talk to 6,000 people over the course of, I don't talk to everyone, of course, but over 6 years, I have access to a lot of people sending me questions on how can I get better. In 6 years, I've only told 2 people, stop trading. This isn't for you.
Wow.
So
Okay.
what I'm going to say here is basically, you've got to take a really hard, honest look at yourself and answer one question. And the question you need to ask yourself is, do I have the ability to change? Because if you take a large loss and then you keep doing the behaviors that contribute to a loss, you're doing something wrong. If you don't have the ability to change, it doesn't matter how much you want it. If you don't have the ability to change something, you're not going to be able to make it. And there's 2 people that I said in 6 years, stop trading, it's not for you. And what happened was they sent me DMs and we had like a week-long conversation, and I broke down, okay, try this, 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 and this. We had a whole outline. A month goes by, I don't hear from them. And then I get a DM that says, hey man, I took a really bad loss today. Do you have time to chat? Say, sure, yeah, I'm available. Let's go through this. And they broke down exactly what they did. And it was nothing like what we said would change. And it was the same stuff they were doing wrong the first time. So I said, listen, here's the outline, and this is why you're losing so much money. So stop doing this, try something like this, try this, try this. Don't hear from them for 3 months.
Mike,
DM and says, hey man.
Mike, let me.
Yeah, you got to run, Lamb?
No. Let me. I just want to add some color to what Mike's saying, because I used to be the guy DMing Mike, complaining about losing money. So, seriously, I used to DM Mike all the time, and he would always reply to me. He would always be nice to me. And I remember I would always message him and be like, "Oh man, Amazon kicked my ass, Tesla kicked my ass," and he'd be like, "Dude, I told you to stop doing that." And then one day he stopped replying to me when I said something like that, and I was like, "Well, yeah, that makes sense. I should probably stop doing that shit." So I was there. I've done that. And I said the same thing. If you keep doing the same shit and you show up every day and do the same thing over again, and you keep losing, you have to change. You have to figure out what is going to work for you. And trading Amazon and Tesla is usually not it.
If you're consistently losing money, it's because you're consistently doing something wrong. So again, you've got to take a look at yourself and be honest with yourself. Are you able to change? And if you're not able to change, those are the people I would say stop trading. It's not, you're going to lose whatever you have left. And luckily it's only been, it might have been more, but I know 2 people for a fact. I said, listen, the way you're trading, and these DMs come in over the course of like 6 months to a year, and there's really a lot of space between the DMs. And the only DM I get is, hey, I had a really rough day. Can you help me? 3 months go by. Hey, I had a really rough day. And over the course of a year of that kind of communication, everything I said in the very first post a year ago, I broke down an outline of what you can do to improve. They never did anything different than what they were doing to lose money the first time. So in anything you do in life, figure it out. Do you have the ability to change? Now, I am a smart person. So if I know I'm doing something wrong, I'm going to probably do it wrong 3 or 4 more times. But after 3 or 4 times, I'm going to get to the point where I'm like, okay, dude, you keep trying this and it's just not working. You've got to stop the behavior. So I'm not saying, you get a list of things to improve and then, starting Monday, you're an amazing trader. Of course not. But you have to have the ability to change.
Yeah, I hope those 2 people. Do you think they quit trading? I hope they did, because that's the
I hope so, because one of them took a very large amount of money and just pissed it away. And I could sense the desperation in the messages that they sent, and my heart started beating faster because I'm like, this person is in like legitimate distress over what just happened. And then they had enough money left that they could trade successfully with it. Like it was a dollar amount, and I said this in chat to someone today too. The amount that they had left was a dollar amount that if you said, I'm just learning how to trade. I just started my trading journey. I have this much money. Do you think I can do it? I would have said, that's way too much. Like take a lot of that away. Take it out of the market. Start much smaller. So they had enough money left where they could have done, some great things with it. But if they didn't change the behavior, they would have instantly lost that too. So it was a good enough amount of money that I hope they did stop trading, because if they lost that amount too, on top of what they already lost. And like I said, there was only 2 people that I know of over the 6 years, so it's not often. But sometimes you just got to say, you know what? My personality does not match what I need to do to be successful here, and I'm not willing to change. And if I'm not willing to change, save whatever money you have left.
Yeah. Well, that goes back to my kind of observation about both of you guys, and you guys are self-aware. Like some people may not be very self-aware. They may think, yeah, I can change, but they may not have that awareness, to be able to understand.
You know how you know if you're good or bad at that?
No.
Watch your monthly P&L statement. Over the course of the next 6 months, you can tell yourself you're changing, and I'm learning, and I'm studying, and I'm doing this. Over the next 6 months, if every month your P&L is just red, 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 you're not changing. Or you might think you're changing, but you're not. So I like to think of your account balance as a scorecard. And I don't mean you want to go out there and start with 10,000 and make it to $1 million. You don't want to make, whatever ideas like that you have, like not talking like that. It's just a scorecard in the sense that, am I consistently going upwards, staying the same, or downwards? And if you're going downwards, you're doing something wrong. If you're consistently staying the same, you've got the idea of what this is about because you're not losing money, but there's something missing. And if it's constantly going up, then the scorecard is telling you, yes, you're doing something right. And there's always something you can improve, of course, but I mean, you can tell yourself you're studying, but if you're studying the wrong things, it doesn't help. You can say, after the market closes, I'm going to do 3 hours of work, but it's 3 hours of the wrong work. It's not going to help. So use your P&L. If you're consistently making money month after month, and it doesn't have to be extravagant amounts of money. If you're consistently making money month after month, you're doing something right. If you're not, you might just have that personality that says, I'm not in a position where I can evaluate what I'm doing, figure out how to change what's wrong, and be successful. But I honestly think that's rare. Most people, if you really want to make this happen, and TLamb's a perfect example. He said it himself. Like, you listen to his story. He's saying if he can do it, anyone can. And I feel the same way. I'm not an exceptionally smart guy that has all these, brilliant ideas in my head. It's just a matter of I'm stubborn to the fact that if I say I'm going to do something, you got to bring an army to stop me because I'm just stubborn and determined.
Yeah.
So if you have the mindset, and we've said that word a million times today, mindset, it really comes down to that. If you have the mindset to say, I'm screwing something up, I need to figure it out, and you're honest with yourself and say, I have the ability to change the wrong behaviors, I really think people can make it in this industry if you have a little bit of help, of course. I mean, there's people you can follow on Twitter that are going to lead you down the wrong path, of course. But if you have the right mindset and you have the ability to change what's not working, and maybe you find a mentor, get someone that you follow on Twitter, join a group like Black Box that has a moderator team, whatever it is, if you have someone like that on your side, I think a lot of people, and here's the other thing that goes with that, and TLamb said it too, and I said a tweet out this morning that included this, you've got to have the right expectations. You have to know, you've got to know that you're not coming into trading with a $10,000 account and you're going to be at $1 million at the end of the year. If you take someone who's trading for 20 years and give them $10,000, they might be able to do that. But if you see that on Twitter and you go, ooh, I'm going to start trading and do that, you're going to find yourself just in a heap of trouble.
Yeah, let me say 2 things. Twitter can be a horrible thing. And number 2, even more importantly, Lamb our time has come to an end with TLamb. And I want to say thank you for joining us today, man. We really appreciate you coming on the show. I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, so thanks for having me, man. And I hope I added some benefit and somebody took at least a sliver of something from what I had to say. And if that happened, then I am content.
Yeah, 100%. I really appreciate it. And yeah, thanks for joining us. And I look forward to having you on the podcast too. And that's going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, thank you very much for coming on.
For sure. Thanks, guys. River, Mike, y'all have a great rest of your day. And I'll see y'all later.
You too. Thank you, buddy.
So Mike, he's the man, isn't he? He's a nice guy.
He is. And like I said, what I really like about his story is that he started out as just a member of Black Box, thinking, you know what, I'm going to learn how to do this with some. I guess these guys look like they know what they're doing, and he became a consistent trader, and he's done very well. And he's got a great look on the market. And like I said in the beginning, he's one of those people that you think of like, this could be anyone on the planet. This could be the regular guy that's just like, I'm going to start trading. And he made it work for him. And he went through, his process of figuring out how to make it work, but he made it work.
Yeah, he reminds me a lot, frankly, of you and many other people I could name who are full-time traders. And like, he seems like just fiercely devoted. Like he has decided other people have figured out how to do this. That means it can be done. It is possible. So therefore, I'm going to figure out how to do it. That's what you guys seem like. And by you guys, I mean, full-time traders.
You have to have that mindset, right? Because if you really look at something that it's difficult, and if you go into it thinking, you know what, this is going to be really tough, like your chances of success are going to be worse than the guy that says, you know what, this is going to be tough, but I'm ready to take on whatever you throw at me.
Yeah.
Right? You've got to have that hope. You've got to have that ability to see the other side of it, or else what are you doing it for? Right? You're on this uphill battle. So if you don't see what it's going to look like when you get to the top of that hill, like, why are you even trying to climb it? So you've got to have that hope, and you've got to say, other people did it, I can do it. And then, like I said, if you have that mentor, it helps because you can look at them and say, I'm going to mirror the good things you do. And when you tell me what the bad things you do are, I'm going to try to eliminate that. Right? I know what my weaknesses are as a trader. So when I'm talking to someone, I can say, you know what, here's how you would go about this. But personally, I struggle with that as well. Yeah. Right? Because I know my weakness. I'm realistic with myself as a trader. So
self-aware. That's the thing I keep hearing in all of you guys, man. You guys are just self-aware, and I'm very active and have been for a long time in the rock climbing community where I live, and like there's a similarity between climbers and you guys. There's a similarity. Both of you guys climbers will spend months on a route, like every tiny finger positioning. They'll memorize it, and they're just obsessed with it. And they're not going to stop until they do it or they get injured. And like you guys seem to be very similar. I think there's some crossover in those communities. You guys are both crazy, and you're just not going to take no for an answer. Okay, well, hey, so
day traders, that's what you think of, right? You say, oh, day traders are these wild and crazy people. They have no rules. You watch The Wolf of Wall Street, and you see all the nonsense that goes on. So when I think of day traders, I kind of think of like a certain personality type. Yeah. Now, it's not always true because there's people that are the complete opposite of me that are very successful day traders, and there's people that are just like me that are very successful. But I kind of get the image overall when I think of like what people think of day traders. I think they're like, oh, super risky, crazy kind of people.
Yeah. There's some correlations. But here, let me do this. Everyone, we're definitely up at kind of a hard stop, but I want to take this. Some of you guys are still here. I really appreciate you guys. We both appreciate you guys coming to the show. You see our contact info. Send either one of us. We're going to play with timing of this seminar. Maybe you guys want it earlier on a Saturday. Send us some feedback. We're going to try, once a month, twice a month. What would you guys, be most likely to tune in? And we're going to have other guests on and stuff like that for sure. But we're experimenting with times. So definitely contact us with any suggestions about times you would prefer instead of Saturday at 4 Eastern, because we're open to, Mike, you don't want to get up too early, but,
you know what? I find myself naturally just getting up. Like I'm up at 6 a.m. during the week to trade, and I'm not a morning person. I'm finding myself on weekends, I'm just naturally getting up earlier and earlier. So
But
we
maybe
can
you'd
figure
like to
something
do
out
it
if
and
it
get it
works
over
better
with.
for other people.
Yeah, maybe that'd be good for you. We could just do it over. You could do it earlier, and you'd be done with it, and you could go on to your beach day, maybe.
I just want to make sure that what we're putting out there helps someone in some way. So as long as we're being productive in terms of maybe newer traders that haven't had the length in the market that some of us have, or we can share those insights. As long as we're able to help someone, there's a reason why we're doing this. So if we can just reach out to as many people as possible, I'm open for making whatever changes need to be done to make sure we have the greatest impact on whoever wants to kind of hang out and listen to us for an hour and a half.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I definitely see your comments. A lot of, I don't know if you can see the comments or not, Mike, but they're definitely giving you and Lamb a lot of shout outs. Thanks for the help. Some people like this time, some people want it every week, et cetera, et cetera. So I appreciate you guys coming for sure. Send us emails and DMs on Twitter. Let us know, like, what do you think? What other mods would you like for us to go and approach and try to get on the show as well? I know King has already said he's excited to come on pretty soon, and Hell's Bells has said he will join us in the future. So
remember, guys, if you have a trade that you want us to look at, that's how we started this whole thing. We haven't had a lot of people willing to share a bunch of stuff, but if you have a trade, there's actually, I set up a form you can fill out. It's actually 7starmike.com/www submissions. And I think I'll put it on Twitter. But if you guys have a trade, you actually want us to look at your trade, send me the details of the exact time of entry, the time of exit. It asks for were you bullish or bearish and what was the reason for entering. And we'll actually do a screen share. Like this is mostly audio because we don't have a lot of stuff we're sharing right now. But what we're going to do, if you guys send us a submission, is pull up the chart and say, if I was looking at this entry here, maybe you missed this, or maybe you could have looked for this. So it's more of taking your trades and showing a different point of view of, could you have improved it? Or did you do a good job with it and you weren't happy with it, but something we can see or not see? In other words, we're evaluating your specific trades for you. So I'll go on Twitter at 7starmike and I'll post the link for that if you guys want to send us your trades. And we would love to be able to, and we did it the first few sessions with our own trades, so we can do that as well. But we want to be able to reach out and help people that are struggling and they didn't really understand why their trade didn't work. And maybe that second set of eyes could just say, oh, next time maybe you can look at this. So I'll put that link out on Twitter for you guys to send your trades to us if you want. And that's all I've got for this week.
Yeah, say that link again. Is it 7startraders.com?
No.
Okay, tell me again.
Let me jump over here and find it. It's basically, I have to double check on what it is because it's 7starmike.com/
7starmike.com. Okay.
www submission.
7starmike.com/www submission. I'm going to send that just to a comment to everyone. And
so
yes,
if you go to 7starmike.com/www submission, what it's going to do is bring up a Google form. And if you fill out that form, it basically gives me all the information I need to look at the chart and say, this is the trade they took. And then we can evaluate it from there. So 7starmike.com/www submission.
Nice. Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you for coming out today. There's a new podcast coming out called Hells and the Hippie, where me and Hell's Bells are going to debate everything and yell at each other. So that's coming soon. Excited to bring it to you. And what went wrong? We will be with you guys. Thank you very much again. And Mike, whatever you do today, I hope you have a great day and enjoy the beach, man.
Will do. I'm about to head back out there. So thanks for hanging out with us, everyone. River, I enjoy this every week. Thanks for hanging out with me for an hour and a half, chatting back and forth. And all of you guys, we will see you Monday morning at the opening bell.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy, but we'll be there. All right. Have a great day, everybody. See you soon.